I've got a special guest in town, and we're going to talk about sometimes when you're taking a video and you freeze frame that video and you get something in the screen that looks just like this, looks like a UFO, it might not be a UFO. Coming up right after this. Hey Mark, how's it going?
Good, you caught me didgeridooing.
Yeah, that's some pretty good didgeridoo work.
Yeah, we were making these as part of a little craft night we had here. I was here, as you know, speaking for the Phoenix MUFON group. And of course I've been playing didge for a few years, and I thought that, hey, it might be cool to make some didgeridoos.
Mm-hmm. You know? Well, this is cool too, because you've taught us how to make these out of PVC pipe. Is this something that is traditionally done in Australia, or did you come up with that yourself?
I just went to Home Depot at one point, and I looked in the PVC aisle, and I said, Next thing you know, the entire aisle was filled with that sound. And I was like, ooh. And of course, people were looking at me going, who did that? Who dared to do that in Home Depot? You know, disgusting. I was like, oh, that's a didgeridoo.
So it's like an urban didgeridoo.
That's right. You know, it was a didgeridoo, not a didgeridump.
So, talking UFO, since we got him here, Mark, of course, is the MUFON photo and video analyst. I wanted to talk about a UFO video that was posted in the Open Minds UFO group earlier today.
Oh, yeah.
You saw this. We looked at this earlier today. And this person took a video, and something zipped by twice in this video. And they freezed the frame, and they were like, oh my gosh, it's a UFO, because it looks like this. It looks like, you know, what we picture as a UFO, a dish-shaped object.
Yeah.
However, and everything in the video is in very clear focus. But when we see this shape, when something's zipping by through the screen,
and they freeze frame it,
this does not actually represent the shape of the object.
No, the shape on the video is not going to be the shape of the object, most likely, because videos are taken usually at 30 frames per second, roughly, and possibly 60 frames per second.
This one's at 24, actually.
Or 24, well, yeah, that's true. That's so 24, 30, or 60. And the problem with that is that if you take a photograph with a camera at a 24th of a second, which is exactly what each frame is on this video, like a video that's 24 frames per second, or 30th of a second, or 60th of a second, depending on the speed of the object, it's going to have some blur. You have to go much higher than that, 120 frames, 240 frames per second, 500 frames per second, whatever, to try and get rid of that blur. Cameras don't do that. So they capture the ordinary objects looking extraordinary. Mm-hmm. They will show a bird that's blurred out and looks like a supersonic transport UFO. It's blunt at the front and tapers off at the tail. Or it'll show an insect as this cigar-shaped object. And or like this. If it's a short enough exposure, like a 60th of a second, you might get an insect looking like this. All right? And as the insect flies through the frame, all right? Well, hold on. Don't play it yet. As an insect flies through the frame, okay, as it goes across one spot on the frame, you can see that the insect is a certain size all the way across. All right? As it goes across, the part where the insect is, most of the time is going to be a little bit thicker over time, okay? What that translates to is a continuous object that's going across that's discrete in size, and for each frame, the frame stops at, say, a 24th of a second. Now the next frame starts. Wherever that thing is in that frame, the same thing happens. So you get these little tapered ends, and you get this central bulge all the time on all these objects moving across. And this is exactly what we see. And mostly, I would say that we can see a bug or a bird fairly religiously as sort of like a tapered blur. Mm-hmm. And it has to do with the way video cameras take their video. Mm-hmm. And some bugs, in fact, you can actually see the wing beats.
Right.
Yeah, and you count the wing beats, and what you can do then is you can say, well, this many wing beats occurred in this much time, the exposure time, say a 30th of a second or 24th. You can then calculate how many wing beats per minute would actually have happened if you could have counted the wing beats. And that you can then now determine the actual insect that actually made that, because certain insects have a certain wing beat frequency. And you can look those up, they're online. And you can figure out, oh, well, I know what that was. That was one of these particular beetles, or that was this particular hornet or bee or something. Really cool stuff.
Mm-hmm. We were at Devil's Tower UFO Rendezvous not too long ago, and I interviewed some of the speakers, including Mark, and some people saw with bugs flying around, and they were like, oh my gosh, that's a UFO, and they freeze frame and they got this sort of thing. But it wasn't a UFO, it was a bug. And that, so this applies for things zipping through the screen. The shape isn't going to represent what it is. However, if you're videotaping and you've got something like this flying around in the sky for a period of time and zipping around in strange maneuvers, now that's a video we want to see.
Exactly. Yeah, something that just goes straight through and is only on a few frames because it's going so fast, well, that might be a bug or a bird. But if you have something that is actually doing something extraordinary to your eye, this is the key now, to your eye. It's not something you see later, it's something you see as it's happening. Those types of objects, those are the types of objects we're waiting to see.
Exactly. And I'm waiting to hear you play some more didgeridoo here.
So we're didgeridoo?
Didgeridoo.
All right.
So why don't you play some music?
Get her didgeridoo.
Yeah, fly UFO fly around.